Yes, Kumar.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Purna. Sorry.
So, yeah, no problem. So, guys, yesterday we stopped our demo for this demo Java project, right? And we done the build pipeline and we created the release pipeline. Let me go and edit that. So we have come to this point, the jar file, and we stopped it. Just to recap, what we are doing is we connected our build pipeline with the GitHub, and we taken the some Java project that is available on the GitHub, and created the build pipeline. From that, we got some artifacts. This is a jar file, okay, and then we created a pipeline, a release pipeline. But this time we are going to deploy this Java app to the Azure app service, and that app service we already created using our ARM templates, if you remember. So portal.azure.com. So as I told you, if you are working in the cloud-based environments in any company, there are some applications which can go to your app service as well to reduce the time, uh, to reduce, what is this? Zero credit available. This is not good. Uh, just give me a second, guys. Should be having more amount. Okay, that's okay. So thank God that we are almost ending. So in organizations, there might be some applications or services which goes to app service as well, where you do not need to maintain any virtual machines and configure virtual machines for your deployments or to run your applications from there. Okay, so that is the scenario, and we add when you added this Java app template, we got this one. One task is this one, and this is related to war file, and this is to relate to jar file. My project is related to the jar file, nothing but a service. Okay, and these things have automatically come from the top level. All you need to do now is there is a package or folder in our .NET applications. You can see .sln or .project. You just need to select the relevant jar file here. By default, it will come like this. But you browse it, go to the artifacts. This is a drop folder, right? Under that, there are a number of folders available. See, we don't know what is this project. Uh, so don't ask me what it is. It is just a simply hello world program. But if you are doing it for any our actual Java application, the developers will tell you which folder contains what jar files, etc. Okay, you select the GS Spring Boot jar file, say OK. So this is the one you need to do, and then let's go and save it, and then create a release. It take a minute or so. Let it take actually. Okay, it's done. If you go to the Of course, we never been to. So it will show you the app service URLs as well, where it is being deployed. Okay, it is being deployed to, this is a website name, right? For our app service, website JCSS something. This is a website name, and the logs are placed here. You don't need to worry about that. All you need to do is you just need to go and open this, or you go to your app service from the portal. So this is your app service, right? And then click on the overview, and you have the URL here. Okay, let's go and click on this. So deploying to app service is pretty easy because you don't need to set up servers and install any software required, etc. Because we already seen how to create an app service. We done it manually. We just need to select the runtime stack, be it .NET or Java, and select the respective version, and then mention whether it is whether it should run in the Windows servers or Linux servers, etc. So these are just wizard based. And what is the advantage of app service? I mean, this is related to the cloud administration. Let us say if you are using app service, basically it will withstand any user load. I mean, based on the user load, Microsoft is responsible to increase the app service capacity. Okay, if you are using virtual machines for your deployment, of course, it takes some time to spin another one. Even though you set up auto scaling up or down, automatic, virtual machine takes a little more time because it has to create a server and internally deploy the application. It takes some time, but app services are instant. Okay. Okay. The jar file contains one service that and that output is hello from Spring Boot. Okay. So this is simply a service. Okay, this is how you can deploy your application to app service. The reason I selected Java because I can show this GitHub integration and then app service as well. If you want to deploy your .NET also, you can go and create a app service based on the .NET framework and use the framework, I mean the pipeline to deploy your .NET application to your app service as well. So so we covered all of these scenarios, deploying to the servers, deploying to the Dockers, and deploying to the app service. And it doesn't matter how many applications you deploy. Okay. So the next thing I would like to cover in today's session, there are a couple of things that I wanted to cover is one
Purna,
such, yeah.
Purna, one question. I mean, just now your credit was expired, right? Let's say you want
Yes.
to again go for a free trial. What is the normal way you do? You create another hotmail or something like that, or
Yeah, what I do, I'll use another email ID. That's why you see, right? I have a number of email IDs, you see.
right, right, right.
Okay.
Okay,
And also you need to use another credit card.
okay. So credit card is must because when I created my account, it doesn't ask any credit card.
For Azure DevOps, you don't need a credit card because
Okay,
you are not consuming anything. But if you want to
okay,
create a virtual machines, because Azure DevOps is a fast feature that is part of your cloud portal, right? Okay,
okay.
it
Yeah.
is like
Mm,
your Azure app service. Okay,
okay. Yeah.
uh, that comes for 90 days.
Okay.
But if you want to deploy your services to your virtual machines or PaaS service, then you need a credit. See, actually,
Oh.
yesterday night I was having 6,700 rupees. Okay. I think
Mm-hmm.
this is showing me something wrong. I don't think in one night all my 6,000 rupees will be ended. Also, if you
Okay.
see, I don't have any things running here. I already deleted my Kubernetes service and everything. I think
Okay.
there can be some issue with the application. But
Okay.
anyways, if it is a zero, right, I wouldn't be able to
Mm-hmm.
deploy my app service. I mean, application to the app service.
Okay.
Okay.
If
Yesterday
we
night
give
it
credit
was.
card, will they deduct any amount initially or?
No, basically, when you connect your credit card, right, for this
Mhm.
portal, the 2 rupees will be debited from your account. Okay.
Okay.
When the free
Mhm.
trial is ended, that 2 rupees again credited back to your account again,
Okay.
reversed.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And,
Yeah.
and after that, you will get this option pay as you go.
Okay.
Okay. Then it's all about how much you spend. But you have to be
Uh,
very good.
Purna, here for every time we need to give a different email ID and different. I mean, I have 2, 3 credit cards. First time I
Mm.
used one of the card for one email, and second time I can use the other credit card for the other email, right? Like that it works.
Yeah. What I seen is, see, it goes by unique identity, right? I mean, people will come to know if you're using different same email ID with a different credit
Here
card.
they'll catch up based on our SSN. If you have an SSN that was unique, you cannot change it. When even if you give a credit card, if you need to enter SSN, they'll catch up there.
Sorry, you are from US, right? So you have that problem, but in India you don't have that problem. Okay.
Okay, got it.
The credit cards are not linked with each other, right? Here,
Yeah,
not
that's
credit card. Credit cards and debit, anything is not linked, so that's okay here.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I told you that I need to cover some best practices. These are not the implementations alone done by the DevOps guy. So these are the combination. Okay. Let me tell you all those scenarios. When you're working in a DevOps based projects, right? This term you will very often you listen to these things, blue green deployments. Okay, most of the companies don't implement these blue green deployments because these are expensive. Let me tell you what is this. So blue green deployment, blue is one environment, green is another environment. Okay, so let us say you have how do you handle your web server load? You keep some load balancer, and behind that you have a number of virtual machines. Based on the load on the server, your load balancer know it, and it will redirect the request to some less loaded server. So that's how load balancer works. In the same way, blueprint deployments, when people call it zero downtime deployments, right? Zero downtime deployments. So how do they achieve zero downtime? That means you are deploying, still the application is available to the end users. How it is happening? That is based on the blueprint deployments. So this works like this. Let us say you have production environment. That production environment is having 10 web servers and 2 databases. Okay. But if you are working on a blueprint deployment for the zero downtime releases, how the people do? You will have another environment. With the same setup. So all those, so in your one environment, you have 10 production web servers and 10 two production database servers, right? You will maintain another environment with the same configuration and with the same code, but it will be in a standby mode. Okay. So now what I do when I do the deployment from my Azure DevOps or Jenkins, whatever is the tool you are using, first I will deploy to the environment, which is a green environment. That is nothing but what do you say, standby. Okay, I will deploy that one, and the testing will happen in the production environment as well. Once the people are happy, what the network people will do, they simply switch the network to route the request from blue environment to the green environment, and the users will not realize it because it happens in a fraction of seconds or milliseconds based on the network bandwidth what you have. Now your green environment, which is standby, is now operational. Your end users will continue use that. Now your deployment will happen onto the blue environment, which is your earlier it was active. Now you apply on the blue environment, and here the testing and everything happens. Okay, once they are happy, they can again switch back to the blue environment, or they can keep it as it is. So like this, you will have the similar environments with the same configuration, with the same code, with the same settings in all the levels, like in operating system, network, storage, antivirus, anti-spam, whatever is required for your servers to run, all will be same in both the environments. Okay, this is similar to the load balancer concept. In the load balancer, you have a different virtual machines, number of virtual machines with the same configuration running behind it, load balancer. And this is an extension to that one, I would say, blueprint deployment. You will have the similar environments for your production, so that at the network level, you can switch the request routing. So your network administrator will do that one if you are using virtual machines or physical servers. So that's the blue-green deployment concept. You will deploy to the passive environment, and then while the active environment is up and running. And once this passive environment deployment is successful and the testing is successful, then they simply switch the application request back to your passive environment. So likewise, they will make up and down. So this is called blue-green deployment concepts. Okay, and this is expensive. Okay, if you're using cloud, right, like Azure cloud or AWS cloud or these things, it is easier. Okay, because in Azure cloud or something, there is a concept called virtual machine scale set, and you can simply swap the environments. You will get an option called swap. Yeah, even anyone who is having access to portal, they can simply swap it. Again, underlying mechanisms like you deploying your application to these environments is same. Okay, but you don't need really a network administrator if this is already been set up for you in the port in the Azure cloud, if it is only Azure cloud related. Okay, but if it is a combination of on-premise servers and your cloud servers, then you go with this blue-green deployment. That means some network administrator will be there who will be routing your user request to one environment to the other environment as part of these blue-green deployments. Guys, this is the concept about blue green deployments, and your role will not change, but the other people will be working with you while you are deploying the code to different servers in the different environment. Any doubts on this blue green deployment concept?
So we have another deployment model, that is canary deployment also. What is the difference between these two?
Yeah, so blue green deployments is simply switching between one environment to the other environment, which your network administrator will do it for you. Okay, canary deployments, it happens on the cloud environments. You cannot simply do it on the on-premise servers. So it is like this. When you use a canary deployment model, right? Let us say I'm using Dockers and Kubernetes. Okay. When I use a canary model, right? What happens? Already some 10 containers are running in my Kubernetes environment. All those 10 containers are having some service running inside. Let us say our weather forecast service. And after, that is for sprint 1. In sprint 2, you done some development and you updated that weather forecast service with some new logic. When you use a canary deployment, so basically you are not doing anything on your own. Use the model. Your platform will take care of it. But how you did? You just need to mention canary deployment. Then what happens? When the deployment happens, it works like this. If you have the 10 containers, what your Kubernetes will do? First, it will deploy. It will not get the environment down actually. First, your application will be deployed to 1 or 2 containers. It happens in a progressive manner. So it will go to the it will be deployed to the 2 containers. So there might be user request coming to the server, right? Your Kubernetes server. So some user request will be going to the new container. Some user request will be going to the still old containers, and it will go and progressively install the new code to the containers, not in one go. 2 containers and then the next 2 containers like that. That means in these cases also your application is not down. Your users are still able to access your applications while the deployment is happening. So the progressive deployment is called as a canary deployment, and you are not doing it, your platform is doing it for you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and these canary deployments, as I told you, it happens on the cloud environments because these cloud environments is having those capabilities. But if you are using on-premise or something, it will be mostly your blue-green deployments, and it will be mostly with the high-end clients who is having a hell lot of money, because it includes purchasing servers and hiring the resources, all that stuff, right? Everyone cannot handle. Okay. Now, the other concept what I want to tell you is, so DevSecOps, right? Somebody, I think Manoj is asking about it. What is DevSecOps? Okay, you might be listening a hell lot of thing about DevSecOps. Okay, before getting into the DevSecOps, let me give some overview about DevOps or something, right? So DevOps, as you know already now, it's all about automating your processes and automating your implementations like build and deployments, and automating all the configurations that you need to do across the environments. Okay, is that that's not invented along with DevOps, right? These are there in the process since decades and decades. Even in back in 2005 itself, I was doing automated build and deployments. Okay, but using Python and Perl and some Windows commands, etc., or Unix commands. I was doing automated build and deployment. Even before me, even in late 90s as well, automated build and deployments were there. But this term DevOps has come into picture around 6-7 years ago, as I explained. I think so. Right now, it can be 8 years as well. Okay? So because all these processes, right, known to only very technical people and who are intelligent in their work, right? But not all the organizations are like that. They might be busy with their regular day-to-day work just to ensure that applications are available, they are being deployed, etc. But they don't follow all these best practices in terms of automation of the processes or tools or build and deployments, whatever it is. So they spend a hell lot of money on that one. That's where people started collecting all these best practices and they named it as a DevOps. But underlying what you're doing, again, all these are automated build and deployments. Okay. Now the extension is DevSecOps. Some people said that, hey, you are not giving utmost priority the security. Security is afterthought in your application development or product development. Afterthought means once your application is developed and it goes to live, then only you are thinking about the security. But because of that one, you are getting into the hacking issues, or your applications are vulnerable to some some attacks like DDoS attack, etc. So that's where people extended this one. Hey, let's follow DevSecOps. That means security is not an afterthought. Security is part of every SDLC phase of your product development or application development. So, but is this a new thing? No. So this security testing is part of application and product development since the ages. So without security testing, no critical application will go to production. But not everyone will do it. Not everyone knows the best practices. That's where again DevSecOps formulated, and all the best practices have come to your blogs or part of your methodologies. So this is just an extension. So now let's see. You are just introducing. You are just telling your team to make security is also a high priority. Now let's see what is that. This is called secure SDLC. So you often listen to this word called secure SDLC when you are working with techie clients or the product based clients. Secure SDLC is nothing but it's an extension to your SDLC by by theory, but security is always part of any application development or product development that was not enforced. Okay, when you use secure SDLC methodology, what is happening during the requirements analysis? So the business analyst has to put his thoughts around the security for the requirements as well. Let us say he will say, hey, there should be a login page. So the business analyst, of course, doesn't know how to encrypt or decrypt, how to enforce the security, but he simply says that, hey, the login mechanism should be secure. That's what he mentioned. Okay, so that means the business analyst is also giving importance to the security right from the requirements analysis itself. That is from the requirements management. Next one, what is in your SDLC? That is a design phase or architecture phase or whatever it is. Okay, most of the people, what they do, okay, for the important things like a login page, etc., they implement the encryption, decryption, etc. But there might be things at some code level or some file level or some URL level, etc. There are n number of things where you need to secure. Okay, so that is at the design level. So if you are not following secure methodology, or if you don't have people, right skilled people to do this security implementation, they simply give importance to only to the visible things like login page or SSL certificate for the URL, etc., and leave everything aside. But when you are using secure SDLC methodology, people will ask you, hey, give me the threat modeling for the entire application, identify all the vulnerable areas where you need to have the security. So here also, now what happened, your security became the first priority along with your requirements development or the architecture development as well. The next one is implementation. So people write the code. Of course, we are using the Sonar Cube, right, for the code analysis. So earlier, when we use the Sonar Cube, it was only doing some what is a design analysis or some naming convention analysis, something like that. So, but later even Sonar Cube also integrated security code analysis plugins as well. Okay, so what we say, use tools like Sonar Cube or checkmarks, etc., to do the static security analysis. Of course, we've been using it, but now all these tools are equipped with sophisticated plugins. And you can see these results in our Sonar Cube server as well. This is static security application testing or static security analysis, whatever it. So you are giving the most priority for the implementation phase as well. What is the next one? Dynamic security testing or dynamic analysis testing or whatever you call it. This comes after you deploy it. So for the many organizations, they don't do any security testing once the application is deployed. But of course, the clients like banking clients or healthcare or pharma, they do some they do a lot level of security testing. They use a lot number of tools to do the security testing. Okay, so some open source tools are like Zap and Bob Suite, but the big companies mostly use IBM AppScan, HP Portrait. These are the tools. These are expensive, like lakhs and lakhs. Some tools even crores of 1 crore, even 1.5 crore as well. Okay, they use those tools to do the dynamic security testing. Of course, there will be some people who will do the manual security testing as well, but it will be mostly driven by the tools. Okay. And the next one is OS hardening. Let us say your security, server administrators or network administrators, what they do, they will ensure that your servers will have only the required software for your application to run. But if you don't have any policies and standards in place, people can go and install any software on their servers. That's where your applications are vulnerable to attacks. If you are working for a very mature organization or who knows the policies, basically before they give server or network to you guys, make it available to you guys, all those things are already hardened. Means let us say your web server is there, only HTTP port 80 is allowed or 443 is allowed. They will not allow any other random ports. So likewise, and then monitoring, after that monitoring comes into picture. Means there will be monitoring tools like SCOM or Nagios, SolarWinds, who which those tools monitors your infrastructure along with the servers, networks, etc. And they will have the monitoring alerts configured as well. And even for applications, there are tools like Dynatrace, etc., which exclusively monitors your application activity. So these are the tools from the vendors, and these are separate skill set, and there will be separate teams to install and configure these tools in your production environment or UAT environment, etc. Okay, so when you apply all these principles, when you include security as a first start as part of all your SDLC phases, then you call that type of development as a DevSecOps based development. If you don't give a testing, security a high priority along with your along with your other SDL, along with your other activities, then you don't call it as a DevSecOps. Okay, that's the only difference. Making security part of your SDLC as a mandatory item. So there will be tools, as I told you, for dynamic security testing. People use a Zap and Burp Suite, IBM AppScan, HP Portrait. There are a number of tools available. And for static security testing, that means at the code level, it's a Sonar Cube checkmarks, etc. Guys, that's about DevSecOps. So it's all about getting other testing people into the picture, security testing people, and some tools into your development phase. And this is not a one-person activity. This is a team activity. So your BAs are involved, your architects are involved, your developers are involved, your testers are involved, your infrastructure guys are involved, who will manage the monitoring tools and other infrastructure areas like servers, networks, storage, etc. Any doubts on the DevSecOps?
Here we use elastic beanstalk tools. That is the purpose of that tool is elastic beanstalk, not
No,
elastic
that
beanstalk.
is
Kibana,
no.
ELK.
Elastic.
Some tools.
Wait. Yeah, Elastic Beanstalk is not a testing tool. Okay, Elastic Beanstalk is from AWS, and that will be used to create the infrastructure automatically. Let us say you want to create ARM templates, we create the virtual machines or PaaS services. In the same way, Beanstalk will be used to create the virtual machines or any AWS PaaS services automatically. Of course, they have other mechanisms like configuration templates, etc. But that is another way of. That's not a security testing tool.
For application monitoring, we have another tools like Kibana.
No, Kibana is not a monitoring tool. Okay, Kibana is it's not application monitoring tool. Kibana is just a dashboard utility. Let us say in our Azure DevOps, we have the dashboards, right, where we will see all the metrics like related to build or anything. You can go and add the widgets. You can see the metrics in one page. Okay. In the same way, let us say use some reporting tools like a Tableau or SSRS, etc., to generate the dashboards for use by the management teams, be it IT or be it business teams. In the same way, Kibana is from the Elastic Search company. They have many products for the Elastic Search, for the log management, and because they already have those tools, they also need to have some type of utility where they can have the visualization. So Kibana is one such visualization utility from them where they can create dashboards. But you can do the same thing using Sona, let us say Power BI or Tableau, depends on the license what you have. Okay. So giving making security mandatory as part of your SDLC is what DevSecOps, but you need to have the expertise from the people and you need to have the tools as well. Some of the tools I already mentioned, IBM AppScan, HP Portpage, JAP, and WorkSuite for the dynamic security testing. There are many other tools in the industry as well. Okay, for static security like Checkmarx, SonarCube, etc.
So while creating build pipeline, so how to secure the files? So one question the interview has asked like this.
What
So I
files to
told
be
that
secured? What files to be secured?
how to secure files. They ask like that. They ask like this.
Yeah, you need to ask that
While
question.
creating
What
build
files to
pipeline.
be secured? What files to be secured? I don't know. You tell me what files to be secured, then I will tell you.
So, but I told like that. So the files which you don't want to move to pipeline. So better you have to keep in git ignore. I told like that. Whether it is correct or
No,
not.
see, no. Git ignore is to avoid. Let us say when you build your application, it will generate lot of cache files as well, like even bin file, etc. You don't want them to be part of your repository. Why do you need a dynamic files part of your repository in the Azure repos? Because you need only your source code, not a dynamic stuff which generated by the system. That's why we use git ignore. Securing files as part of the pipeline, I don't know what that guy is trying to ask you, but your files or the code is already secured when it is part of your build pipeline because it is not shared with any other company or it is not accessible to anyone, including you who is doing the build, because this is being done in some temporary virtual machine or your server if you are using a self-hosted. But securing files is not the concept here. Securing your entries, let us say if you are having any secured information like user IDs, password, etc. So you need to encrypt them. Who should be encrypting them? It is the developer to encrypt those entries in the web.config or app.config. Okay. Whatever you do in terms of configuration, if you are using the variables, let us say user ID, passwords, we are using the variables, right? As part of a release pipeline, we are already securing them. How we are securing them? We are using that option to encrypt. There is a lock symbol, right? And that is not visible to anyone. So you need to ask what to secure, what files to secure. Yeah. Okay. So it always makes sense to be more clear than to give some answer. Okay. Okay.
Uh, Purna, actually, for securing this type of passwords, we have key vault option is there, right, in Azure?
Yeah. See, that is only so Azure Key Vault is the place where you can keep your secure sensitive information like passwords, etc. But again, if you are using Azure Key Vault, then your code has to be changed, because at the runtime, your Key Vault entries will be read by your application. Okay, the DevOps engineer alone cannot do, because it is related to the coding as well. As a DevOps engineer, what you do, you hardly go and create a Azure Key Vault entry and create a secret and keep that secret in that secret entry, and you give the credentials, Key Vault credential to the developer. So it depends on the architecture. If you are using the Azure Key Vault uh, for the secret management. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, okay.
So that decision should come right from the architect, and that should be in use right from the application development. So once they are decided to go with the key vault for the secret management, uh, you will not be creating key vault if you are if you are having the roles of combined, like cloud administrator and DevOps administrator. You can go and create a key vault, but basically the cloud administrator will create a key vault account, and the credentials will be shared with the developers to connect their application with the key vault. So if you don't have any questions, I will continue with my other concepts.
Yeah, Purna, you can go ahead with that.
Okay. So now you know what is blue-green deployment and canary deployment, and DevSecOps means it is basically internally it is a secure SDLC. But guys, believe in me, DevSecOps is a buzzing word, but the security testing is there in place for years and years. Okay, but because of the term DevSecOps, now everybody is talking about the security testing, but it is there since years and years. Okay. So the other thing that you frequently are listen to the people in the industry is a feedback amplification. So feedback amplification is nothing but notification and alerts. Okay. So what is feedback? So you are doing some requirements analysis in the Azure boards or in or Jira, and you are doing build and deployments, and you are doing testing and Sonar Cube test, analysis, etc. From each and every part, the results are coming, right? So creating alerts and notifications and delivering them to the respective identified people is called as feedback amplification. People explicitly see, for matured organization, this is not a biggest item. The reason, they already have all these alerts and notifications in place because they are matured. But other organizations are low matured organizations. They give less importance to these things. So that's where this practice is also made part of your DevOps practice. Feedback amplification. That means create alerts and notification for each and every activity which happens as part of your SDLC phases. Be it a requirement analysis. Let us say you are working on some requirement. you completed that requirement. Then what you do, you go to the Azure boards and make your feature as done or completed, whatever is the status. Then an alert should go to the project manager or other relevant person to understand whether that item is completed, so that he can update his status to his management. Likewise, so you need to have these alerts and notification mechanism for all activities in your SDLC. That's called feedback amplification. Fortunately, we are using Azure DevOps platform, or if you are using GitLab, or if you are using any Atlassian product suites like Bamboo, etc. These things are just a configuration based. If you are using like Jenkins, then you need to install some email server or connect that email server with your Jenkins pipeline, etc. But here everything is configuration. We already seen where to configure the notification in our organization settings or project settings. Okay. So that's the other one you frequently listen to the people, and there are some other tools as well along with your built-in alerts and notification. The tools like Slack, SLACK. So Slack is another tool very famous nowadays. What people are doing, instead of creating alerts and notifications exclusively, they are integrating the Slack with their tools like be it Jira, be it Azure DevOps, be it GitLab. So each and everything that happens in your environment will be going to the Slack tool, and people will be using Slack tool. It is just like your Skype or something, where everyone can chat with each other, and where everyone can get notifications in that tool. They just install and integrate Slack. The name is Slack. Okay, that's another tool. The other things that you need to know is, as a DevOps engineer, and if you're experienced as a DevOps architect, the other concepts are like log management and monitoring. So monitoring, here you already seen, monitoring is nothing but monitoring your infrastructure and monitoring your applications as well. So for monitoring applications, there will be tools like a Dynatrace. Okay. Basically, it will monitor all the aspects of the application, like um, uh, how many requests are coming in, how many are failed, how many are successful, how much time it takes, if there are any attacks on the application. All those things will be monitored by the application performance monitoring tools like Dynatrace. And for monitoring your servers or the network, we have the tools like SCOM, Nagios, etc. And that will be taken care by the infrastructure teams. But what is your role here? Your role is, as soon as you are a DevOps engineer or an architect, you need to ensure that all the, let us say you are deploying to some new servers. You need to ensure that you need to inform the people, hey, I'm done with this deployment. These are the type of the application that are deployed, like web applications or APIs. And you need to ensure that you need to inform that, okay, configure the monitoring tools is for these applications or services, for these servers, etc., etc. So because these monitoring tools are being managed by different teams from the infrastructure team in any company. Okay. And there is another one, log management. Log management is, so generally all your applications or servers will have the logs configured. So your applications might be logging the information to some event viewer or some text files or some to the database. Okay. And you might be having complex application development or product development. So there are tools for these for analyzing the logs as well. Generally, logs will be analyzed if you are working for one application or one product, or if it is a less complex stuff. Generally, the logs will be analyzed by the architect or developer for analysis, how the issues are occurred, etc. But organizations are having hundreds of teams and hundreds of development activities happening, right? There are tools like Splunk. Splunk is one log management tool. Basically, it is a tool. What this tool does, let us say my application is writing to the database, all the logs, and some application might be writing to the event viewer, and it can be Windows or Linux or anything. Right? This Splunk is having plugins to connect to any type of log source. It can be text file, it can be XML file, it can be a database as well. So when you integrate this Splunk with all these sources, right, it will pull the data, all this log data into the tool, and it will provide a beautiful reports on top of that. And the latest tools, latest features of Splunk, like, it is having some AI enabled features as well. That means, let us say you integrated your build pipeline logs with your Splunk. Then what this Splunk will do, based on the history of the build metrics, it will say, hey, your build may fail in the upcoming build or something based on the history. Basically, it will apply some analytics, built-in features. These are built-in features from the tools like Splunk. It will apply some analytics and will say, okay, you may get, your build may fail, or your application is vulnerable to some security vulnerabilities. Please have a look, like that. That kind of uh, uh, features will be given by the tools like Splunk, which are log management tools. Okay, so there will be separate administrators for these tools like Splunk or Dynatrace, etc. So these will be mostly taken care by the infrastructure guys. Okay. So about log management tools and monitoring tools, DevSecOps and blue-green canary deployments. Okay. So the other one which we haven't touched, and that is part of your Azure DevOps platform, is Azure test plans. Yes, first let's talk about the history of this test plans. Okay, previously it is called as a Microsoft Test Manager. So it is there in their product pipeline right from the TFS. Okay, and Microsoft Test Manager is for the testing people to maintain the test cases, test plans. Okay, and even they can do some execution and keep the results as well. But Microsoft Test Manager was not that famous because there are many tools for the testing, test management, and test case execution. Like for execution, you have the tools from the HP. You have the tools like performance testing tools from many vendors, and people used to maintain these test cases like HPQC or Jira, etc. So Zephyr, etc. So people have not moved to that one. And Microsoft Test Manager was also an expensive product from the Microsoft. So when they introduced this Azure DevOps, right, the way they integrated Azure artifacts with the Azure DevOps platform, they integrated this Microsoft Test Manager also with the uh, Azure DevOps platform. But so the whole idea of these guys is to keep all the things related to the complete SDLC part of this Azure DevOps platform. Now, this Azure test plans is for the testing teams where they can go and create the test plans and create the test cases, and even they can integrate the other testing tools like let us say you have a you can people the testers will run test the tests from Postman, etc. if it is a API. Okay, and people do the manual testing by going to the URLs. Let us say they go to the applications and they test the sign-in functionality like this, right? Like this, and then they will record the details. Okay, whether the test case is failed or successful, all these things will be done by the testers, and all these things can be done right from this test plans. Of course, this is a very recent one, included with Azure DevOps stack, not widely used. Still, the people are using Zephyr, Jira for test case management, and other tools for the testing. So, guys, for this test plans, we need a. So right now, I'm using a free trial, right? But once you take the paid version, you will get extra features. That means you will be so you can create the test cases right from this window. Since I don't have that paid version, I will not be able to create the test cases right from this window, but I will be able to create the test cases from my boards. Okay, so you can go to the new work item and you can create a test case. Okay, basically it is like this. People write, guys, this is not important as a DevOps engineer to you. but I am just explaining this because it is included in the Azure DevOps stack. Okay, login functionality. What people will do, they will go and write the test steps like this. Open the application, the key in user ID and password. Click on login button. Like this, they will write the test cases, and it will be assigned to some people. Okay, and it will be part of this is like managing a regular work item. Then you can save it. They can do this kind of test case creation, and people can do the exploratory testing as well. This is known to the testing people. Exploratory testing means they can test the application right from the test case itself. Let us say you go to your boards. What is that login functionality test case, right? I can simply so there will be an option. You can do some testing right from here as well. Somewhere here, let me go to my test plans. You will not see anything. Okay, so I will show that one. So let's go one by one. So progress report is nothing but how many tests are executed, what is the results, etc. And runs is nothing but you will get your test cases here, and it will show how many test cases are executed and their respective data. Okay, and there is a option called load test. So as I told you, these guys have made some integrations possible. That means the performance testing will be done by the Apache JMeter, right? If you are a performance test engineer, you basically most of the companies are using JMeter for the performance testing. So the testers will go and use a JMeter to write the performance test cases, and instead of executing from there, they can include those test cases with your Azure test plans as well. So they basically get some files, JMeter test files. They can integrate here, and you can mention all these things, how much time I need to run these test cases, etc. If you're a test engineer, you will be knowing very well about this one. Okay, and likewise, you can do URL based test. That means, as I shown, right, the people basically do some kind of testing right from the browser itself. If you are a test engineer doing some API testing, you can simply go and give the URL and then some API, something, whatever is the URL, and to execute that URL, you need to give some headers, etc. This is known to the testers, and it will be explained by the developers to the testers. A token, and then give some like this, and your API might be having some parameters. They can go and give some parameters, ID equal to 20 like this, and once the request is being formed here like this, they can go and test it. Okay, so this is how I mean the testers can go and do some load testing right from the Azure test plans. Okay, so now the load test case is created for this URL. They can simply go and run the tests. Okay, it will show all the metrics here. Okay, this is for exclusive. All these test plans is exclusively for the testers. Okay, and as a DevOps engineer, what you will be doing? So you will be giving access to the testers. How you will give the access? You will go to the basically you create the groups, right, at the organization level or the project level. So first you will add an user, and you will go to the permissions, and then they can be part of any one of these existing groups, or you can create your own custom group. Let us say testers, testing, and then you may add people. Okay, and then probably you will go and give the permissions. Okay, So testing, and then so you will go and whether this team should be able to create that test stance. Yes, allow, delete, deny. Okay, manage test config like this. Based on the team's roles, you will go and create a groups and add the members and provide the access to the people, respect people. And this is the same case with any other teams as well. Okay, be it at a repository level or the test plans level or at the build and release pipelines level as well. Okay, let's go to test plans. So let me go to our work items. Again, function. Just give me a second, guys. Just want to show one stuff here. You will get a option called you will get an option called exploratory testing, which I don't see. There is some place that you will get it. Go here. So you will get one option to basically do a exploratory testing. I just forgot where it is. Give me a minute. I'll just okay. So you have this test case, right? Okay. You can go and run this test case right from your browser. Let us say run for web application, or you will get run for, if it is a desktop application, you can select that. If it is a web application, you can select this option, run for web application. When you click on this, it will open a window. So the good thing about this is while you are testing your application based on your test case, basically what testers have to do, they will write all the things what they are doing. They do something, etc., etc., and they capture the results manually as well by taking the screenshots. Or once that test is failed, they create a bug manually by logging into the Jira or boards, etc. So, but all those things can be directly done from here. Let us say you can start the testing. Okay, you can capture the screenshots like this. Okay, it is saying some prerequisites, install them. Test and feedback, it will basically add an extension called test and feedback. Let's say add extension. When you are using it for the first time, it will ask you to do that one. The extension is available now. Now click on the web application. It's already in process. Where it is? Here. Okay, relaunch it. So your testers should be able to do testing right from here if they continue with this kind of with this Microsoft test plans. Okay, and then you have many options to record the screen with audio. Okay, let me see. Okay. You can do whether the test is passed or successful right from here. If it is a failed test, just fail it, and then you can create a bug right from here. See, when you create a bug, right, when the tester create a bug, some of the system information is already captured here. People don't need to do it anything. All they need to is just give some bug found. Okay, I'm just giving some name and then save and close. Save and close. So you see the outcome is failed. And if you go to the boards, you should be able to see the bug created right from the test execution, from the test and feedback extension. Guys, so there are a number of tools available for testers, and they are very famous and renowned basically. And but Azure is making its effort to make it familiar for the testers as well. So this is a test plan. So for the regular thing for the testers, if you have a test plan subscription, then as I told you, you can directly right from this menu, you can go and create the test plans. Since I don't have it, I went to the boards and created a test case, and that's what I can see from this test plans here. Yes, that's about. So I spent less about this one because this is not related to the DevOps engineers exactly.
Microsoft is using these test plans for their product developments. If anyone raise any product issues, right, they generally go and initiate in this tool, and then the subsequent resolution should be provided from this tool only.
You are right, because this is their product, right?
Yeah.
So they should use it. And I see, I tell you, I was using this Microsoft Test Manager back in 2014 itself. Okay, but I love it because even in 2014, no other company is having this kind of feedback. Even because you can using this feedback extension, right? You can give the URL to any person other than your team member as well. They can give the feedback as a stakeholder, but somehow these are not getting attention from the testing community. That's because of the comfort with their existing tools and technologies, whatever it can be.
Mostly, maybe it is related with the product or with the project. If it is an application related, maybe that could be also a variation. But if it is a product, this is the best testing tool which I've seen in Microsoft.
Exactly. Not only from the Microsoft, even I compare this. Let us say when you are using Zephyr or something, let us say you use a JMeter test cases, or you use a HP WinRunner or Load Runner, right? You are doing the testing there, and you are entering all those results manually into HP QC or Jira, etc. Right? There is not much integration. And all these automation testing, if it is a Selenium, that's okay. But the manual testers are doing test case execution on the web pages, right? What they're doing, they are spending a hell lot of time to enter all those details back into your bug, right? But if you are using this test feedback extension, etc., everything is captured automatically for you, including your voice. But it's all about not the usability. It's all about adoption by the teams, the testing community. But I love this product personally. Okay, guys. So what I would like to suggest you guys is, as a DevOps engineer, you need to you need to practice a lot about the permission settings as well, like at the project level, at the at the organization level as well, because you are the person who is giving permission or access to the developers or testers or the project managers to do their work. And look at this notification. Of course, many of them are already configured for you, but you can go and add your own settings as well here. Okay, and you can do much more stuff here. Okay, see how many things. Yeah.
One question. You're talking about that Azure Vault, right? Can you just
Yeah,
show me once actually? I mean,
yeah. So Azure Vault is from the Azure Cloud Portal. Let's go to portal. Okay. So there are a couple of ways to manage your secrets, right? Let us say if you are keeping your user ID password in web.config. As if it is a product company or the techie company, what they do, they use some kind of encryption utilities to encrypt the user ID password in the web.config. Okay. And at the runtime, your code will use a decryption utility and decrypt that user ID password. Okay, that's that is the standard anywhere. And if it is not there, what people do, in our pipelines or somewhere, you keep the user ID password and you encrypt them. That is nobody can see them, only your application can read it, right? The other way is using if it is Azure, it is a Azure keyword Okay, you can go and search for it. Search for it. KEY keywords. Okay. So what people do, they can go and create a keyword here. This is nothing but a repository of your secrets. Okay. So this is again, go and select the demo group and say some name. Let us say demo app keys, and then do all these settings standard. Retention, how many days your keys should be. See, there are some companies, let us say their password should expire every 30 days or 90 days, even for the applications as well, because of security. Even you can mention that retention period as well, and then you say review and create. So I did not talk about access listed everything. This is validate. Now what you do, your keyword will be created, and your web applications or any application, if they have a secret sensitive information, right, they can use this keyword. So let it gets created. You can keep your secrets in this keyword. That will be encrypted, and it will not be visible to anyone, and it will be having the credentials. That credentials will be given to your application development teams. Those guys, what they do, they read the sensitive information like passwords, etc., from this keyword repository and use it for their development purposes.
Okay,
So
because
that's the yeah.
I mean, in our organization, we use HashiCorp Vault actually.
Yeah, hash. So there are many things.
Yeah, then
Say,
yeah.
AWS is having its own vault, and your GCP is having its own, and there are many third-party vaults as well. See, I done myself like when these utilities are not available, I used to encrypt using AES algorithm, or the older MD5 algorithm in older days, to encrypt my web.config entries or app.config entries, and the respective methods will be there to decrypt them. It will happen at the runtime. So it depends on the way how you want to continue. So now you created a vault, and you can go and keep your secrets. Okay, you can keep your keys. Okay, Purna Chandra. You can say, is it RSA type or ESA type? What is the bit size of your key for the encryption? And you can set up the activation. See, all these things can be done programmatically as well, but it's all about time to market, right? Why we're having the automation? To increase our release cycles and to reduce the manual effort, so that you will spend your time only on developing the functional requirements rather than non-functional requirements. Okay, now you will so there will be ways to access this from the applications. So you will go and give the people, okay, you see, enable access to the machines, enable access for the resource manager, and you can go and add policies, etc. So this guy is having now access. You can give these credentials to the people or to the machines, etc. Okay, and there will be some other things. Let us say it will get expired, right? Let us say after 90 days. So but you need to renew it. How do you renew it? So you cannot, if there are hundreds of keys, you cannot do it manually, right? First you will be notified. That's where you will use. Right now you have these events in the preview mode, but generally we create some utilities to ensure that, okay, we will read this expiry date, and we will enable some notifications saying, hey, your key is going to expire tomorrow, let's renew that. So there will be APIs provided by your Microsoft Azure. You can simply use those APIs and then renew those expiry days. Okay, this is advantage of your keywords, and this is no way different from any other key management utilities from any other product or vendor.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
No problem.
So especially for Azure DevOps interviews, have you any interview questions like that? because in the net also we have searched, we could not find it.
See, I'm not a person. Okay, you can think of me anything. I'm not a person who go with a FAQ or something. Okay, even if I'm giving the interview, right? What I do first, I do a thorough practice. Once you practice it, right? See, you will be able to answer any question if you face a lot many issues. If you are successful in each and every attempt of your lab session, then you will not be able to answer questions comfortably. You have to fail in your lab sessions. You need to know the errors. Then only you will be able to answer your questions. See what FAQ will be there. What is continuous integration? What you will do? What you will configure as part of continuous integration? These kind of things will be there in your FAQ. But the things like errors, etc., we have to face it. You need to make wrong configurations and fail your builds, fail your releases by intentionally making wrong configuration. That's
And
where
but we cannot try this in the free trials, right?
you can try it now. What is there? It is coming for 90 days, right? 90 days
Okay.
free trial. See, 90 days is a huge time, man. I mean, even if you spend 1 day for each activity, also that is enough. But you need to have a patience.
Purna, what would be the main focus areas where the interviewer will be touching upon? Because I
So,
think that would be the best thing
yeah,
if you can give us some glance that really help us to prepare for an interview. Though we
sure.
practice very well, but I seen lot of tools, new tools are there. Every organization is using their based on their available tools. But
Licenses,
the problem is
comfort,
that
everything. Yeah.
the problem is that we are consigned to the one specific tools or one area. When it comes to the interview part, the tools will be having the same functionality, but because of their our comfortness with one particular tool, we are not able to give such relevant answers for the other tools, which though they are functionally same.
Yeah. Let me explain this one. Okay. Whether whatever the tool you are using, be it Jenkins, Bamboo, TeamCity, Azure DevOps, or TFS, anything, the concepts are same. You will be doing your build, deployment, sonar cube analysis, and then code coverage, code quality gates, and then your automated build pipelines, automated application configuration, like a web.config entries, changing it, web.config entries as per the environment, all these things. These are all standard, whatever is the tool you are doing, because this is a process. Okay, you learned so many things as part of your Azure DevOps, right from the requirements management, Azure boards, and then your repos, CI, build pipeline, release pipeline, and then test plans, Azure artifacts. But as a DevOps engineer, the important activity for you is first thing is managing permissions for all these areas if it is related to Azure DevOps, and if it is even related to any portal or any other tool. The important thing is your repository management. Let us say your Azure repos. It is a Git, right? So how do you create the pull request? What kind of validations you will put in, and what is the life cycle? How do you manage your merge conflicts? All these things that comes from the repositories, which is your Azure repos, and it is a common for your GitHub as well, because Git is also a part of GitHub. And then your CI/CD. Okay, you need to know all these concepts. Of course, you will tell at the high level. Okay, you configure automated builds. You can do multiple projects or multiple solutions. You have the unit test case task, and you can enable quality gates. You can fail you can fail the build if the quality is not met as per the quality gate, etc. But if the people go in depth, right, then they will talk about some hey, tell me some errors what you face part of your build pipeline. That's where this will not be part of your FAQ. So you remember we got some issue any CPU when I selected a project instead of solution. These things you will come to know only when you are trying. Of course, we handle all the combinations and combinations of our pipeline, but what you need to do is you need to go and make wrong configurations in your pipeline, because that is pretty much possible for any DevOps engineer in real time. And also take some applications which are having some wrong entries. Let us say you are having issues with your project file or a solution file, or might be having some unknown extensions in your projects, like, because the developers may make mistakes, they may not do their work properly, they simply check in the code. Create these kind of scenarios and do the CI/CD pipelines for them. That will make you comfortable. Do all the nasty stuff. That's what I will be able to say. So don't think that if you are successful, you will clear the interview. No, if you have to clear the interview, you need to be failure in your lab sessions. Then only you will learn more things. Any other doubts from anyone? So I given my email ID.
For our certification part for AZ400, this training would be, is sufficient, or whether we need to go for infrastructure training?
No. Yeah. So your AZ400 is fully about your application build and deployments. You can look at the course content as well. Let me check if I have it handy. But certification is all about remembering the things, right? It's not a practice. Okay. You need to remember a lot. Let me see if I have that AZ400. So
what is the fee, Purna? Is it
it is
400?
around 3,500 or for 3,500 to 4,000 rupees. It is small only.
Okay, is it 400?
Yeah, AZ400 is the Azure DevOps engineer. You can see it is talking about NuGet packages. It is talking about Agile. DevOps. Your boards, okay, and structures and Agile practices. Basically, we talked about Scrum, and these are about strategies. Okay, the technical debt means this is about Sonar Cube. Okay, and then secure development process. We just talked about DevOps, right? So static security code analysis using your Sonar Cube, and dynamic security for your using tools like Bob, IBM App Scan, etc. But they will not ask about those tools, because this uh, um, test is about only your DevOps. Azure DevOps. Okay. How do you give access to the people, different branching strategies? Okay, we've seen. Okay, and
Can you able to
then
send this document, Purna? Just for reference.
yeah, sure, you can download it from the internet as well, but I can send it to you. Okay.
Okay.
But see, any test, right? Any certification test is all about remembering the things. Okay, not about practice. It's all
Yeah, but
about multiple.
organizations, right? They mainly look for certifications. If you're certified,
I know.
your resumes will be selected first, but they don't know whether they will really do or they'll have practical experience or not.
Yeah, see, these are all open secrets that we should not talk about it. Okay. So guys, you give me just a test email. I already given my email, so I will send it to all of you. This
Where you kept your email ID? I'm sorry.
in the chat I given purnasc@hotmail.com. Did I send it to everyone? No.
No.
Okay, let me send
Can
it.
you resend your email ID?
I'm just sending. Is it available now? I sent it to everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
Purna, if you have any material which it is very useful for our reference also. I know that slides which you are showing may not be shared, but if you have any other slides, it is really helping us. Could you please share with us?
Can I tell you one thing? My slides doesn't contain exhaustive information. It's only at a high level, which you can easily remember. Okay, because see, many people think that you will get 100 pages document, and people think that they will go through 100 pages. You will not. You will not even read it. Okay. And
that 100 pages will not be useful for any situations. I know. I remember that because mostly it works out while working on the scenario. So and that is really. Your slides are really helping us when we come into some scenarios, like if you are doing a build pipeline, what are the process we need to follow? Those steps are very well documented. So I was requesting that if you have such documents, please share.
Yeah, I don't have any detailed document because you already seeing that I'm mostly doing in front of you guys. Even I also refer to the Microsoft documentation only if I need any information. So I'm a person who generally don't go to the blogs immediately because even blogs are written based on the product vendors documentation. So, but once you become expert, then obviously you will be able to judge if the blog is a valid blog or not. Because there are many blogs who gives some solution, but there won't be pre and post information what they have done. So refer to Channel 9 videos I would recommend from the Microsoft. That is one good source to know the latest features or new solutions. Of course, those guys also will not give you end to end. They will not show you what things they have done before the demo and after the demo, but that will give you an idea. But after that, there is no best place other than our MSD and Microsoft documentation, but it requires a lot of patience. Okay, guys, please ping me your email ID and my email so that I can share this course content. Okay, and if there anything you need it, you can contact me on the email. And I would say thanks for joining my sessions, and I wish all the best to all of you. And anytime, let me know over the email. I will definitely come back to you. Probably it may get delayed a day because of my work schedule or something, but I definitely reply back.
Thank you, Purna. Thank you very much. Thank you for
Thank you,
your
Purna.
time.
Thank you, and have a good day and all the best. Yeah.